Hello and welcome back to Swapnil's analysis, and I'm Swapnil. Today we are going to discuss about a very beautiful poem of Langston Hughes, The Ballad of the Landlord. Now, The Ballad of the Landlord was published in 1940, and the poem is in as it is a ballad, therefore it is in a form of a conversation. And here, a tenant who is an African American in 1940s America after the abolishment of slavery from America, how still the African American people, how still they were facing problems of equality and how they were very unfairly treated by the white people of America. The poem is all about that. The poem is set in 1940s and it tries to highlight the issue of racism, the prevalent racism of contemporary American society, and how the African American people treated very unfairly by the white American people and the government institution. The poem is written in a very simple language and it talks about a very simple issue. Here, a tenant is complaining about the lack of basic amenities in the house where he was living as a tenant. And he was just informing his landlord. Now, here, landlord, the word symbolizes as a person who is in the power, who has a power, and tenant is a person basically as at the mercy of a landlord. So landlord here, he's a boss, and typically the landlord is also a superior to the black person or African American person because of his skin color. So in a two-way, this word has been used by Langston Hughes in this poem. The poem is, as I have said earlier, is a very simple poem. So let us begin. He has used the word landlord twice in the first two stanzas. And here he was trying to attract the attention of his landlord. Therefore, he has used the word twice. Landlord, landlord, my roof has sprung a leak. Don't you remember I told you about way last week? So here, his roof was leaking as a tenant because he was paying his rent. He had every right to ask his landlord to make a repair. But he had told him way last week. But landlord has not done anything. He did not do anything about that leaking roof. So here he was very simply trying to draw the attention of landlord towards the complaint which he had made in the last week, which landlord did not pay any kind of heed. In the second stanza, landlord, landlord, because landlord probably must not be listening to this tenant of his, African American tenant of his. Therefore, again in the second stanza, he repeats the word landlord, landlord. This steps is broken down. When you come up yourself, it is a wonder you don't fall down. So here he says the step, my roof is leaking, the step of the stair is broken down, and I just wonder why don't you fall down when you come up? Do you have any kind of a trick? Again, he is drawing attention of a landlord toward the lack of basic amenities where this speaker, tenant, African American person was living. Then in the third stanza, the landlord might have said him about the $10. So here he asks rhetorical questions. $10 you say I owe you. $10 you say is due. Well, that's $10 more I will pay you till you fix this house up new. So what he says that you are saying that I owe you $10 means $10. Okay, you are saying that $10 are due. Okay, I'm ready to pay you $10 or more than $10, but first you should repair this house. First you make some repairing in the house, and then I'm ready to pay you the amount or the rent. What? You gonna get eviction orders. You gonna cut off my heat. You gonna take my furniture and throw in the street. So when after the tenant refused to the landlord, then he's asking these questions to the landlord that what? Why are you staring at me like this? Therefore what? Question mark. You're gonna get eviction order. Now you are going to get an eviction order to throw me out. You are going to cut my electricity. You are going to throw my furniture, and you are going to throw me out of this house. Okay, these options you have. These options you have got. But I'm not going to pay you $10 until and unless you make repairing in this house, because this house lacks basic amenities. And here the tenant, he was right because he was paying the rent, and therefore he was right in his own position to ask the landlord about the basic amenities because he was paying the rent. Then, you talking high and mighty, talk on till you get through. You ain't gonna be able to say a word if I land my fist on you. So here, as his landlord, he was talking very high, and as he was threatening to the tenant, then the tenant says, okay, you are talking very high and mighty, but you are not aware of my power. If I hit you on the face, you will not be able to say a word. Immediately after threatening in such a manner, the landlord, he immediately calls the police. Police, come and get this man. He's trying to ruin the government and overturn the land. Here he calls the police and asks, okay, take this man away. Why? Because he's trying to spark up a revolution by raising his voice, by demanding something. So ruin the government here means here he's trying to be a revolutionary. He is sparking some kind of a revolution, some kind of a protest. So take him away. Or he is trying to change the social system. Therefore, that's what this line means, that overturn the land. Means here he is challenging the established social system, society, the hierarchy established by the society. So before this escalates more, you should arrest this person who is an African American and put him into the prison. Then coppers whistle, petrol bail, arrest. Princeton Station, iron cell, headlines in press. So he's taken into the local police station, Princeton Station. He was put into the prison, and the next day, the headlines, what were the headlines? They are very interesting. Man threatens the landlord. As we have seen the poem, man threatens the landlord. Tenant held no bail. Tenant was captured, arrested, and he was not given any kind of bail. Judges gives Negro 9 days in country jail. Negro is a term referred to the African American people, and it is generally considered by these African American people very offensive. So these last three lines how the society is very prejudiced towards the African American people, and how on every step these African American people and many of the marginalized people, how they face injustice in every walk of life. So this poem throws light upon the racism that was during the New York City in 1940s, and how these African American people maltreated and mistreated by the police and by the dominant white American people. So if you have liked my presentation, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.